Christmas! I brought you a gift on behalf of Santa Claus!
Hello everyone, this is Daydream Tracer, and today I am going to show you my complete video game collection. It's not as big as certain people on YouTube, but I have quite a few. And this is going to be part of an upcoming edition of 12 Random Days of Christmas for this year, 2020. Starting off, this is the very first console I ever owned, Game Boy Advance SP. In the metallic blue color. This is the one with the backlit screen. I'm filming this with the tripod. So here is what the device looks like. Yeah, there was a sticker. Yeah, there were some stickers on the bottom, but I took those off. This is the connector for headphones as well as the charging port, and I think this is for a link cable. And on the side you have the power button. On the left side you have the volume. The shoulder buttons. The D-pad. You have the A and B buttons, start and select. And that's for the backlight. So I'm going to turn it on. Yep, this is the one with the backlit screen. Sorry for my foot there. And these are the only cartridges I have for it. This is a Game Boy Advance video cartridge of SpongeBob SquarePants, Volume 2. Apologies for the dirty rug. I had to film it somewhere, or I had to film it elsewhere. And the other cartridge I have, don't laugh at me for this, is Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure. I was 6 when I got this, so yeah, back in early 2007. I'm not sure why I wanted the Game Boy, even though the DS was already out by this point, but whatever. I also had a few other cartridges. I had Super Mario World, and I had Cats 2, but those are long gone. So that is my Game Boy Advance SP. For Christmas 2007, I got this Leapster, which is the second variation of the first gen model. This was originally released in 2005. I got this back in 2007 when I was 7 years old. This counts as a console, right? Yeah, it takes 4 AA batteries. There's a cartridge slot on the top. That's the AC power. There was a headphone jack on the side. It's for contrast or brightness contrast as well as volume. It's the home, hit, and pause buttons, D-pad, and the A and B buttons and the power button, as well as the stylus. Which, yeah, the first gen Leapster came out in 2003, predating the DS by a year. This is the second variation that came out in 2005. Turn it on. Did any of you have a Leapster growing up?
To get started, touch a picture on the screen with your pen.
If so, what model was it and what color it was? So yeah, here's my Leapster. And these are the games I had for it. Yeah, Leapster games came on cartridges that looked like this. This is I Spy Challenger. I got this back in 2008. But the cartridges I got for the system were SpongeBob SquarePants Through the Wormhole. Yeah, I was a huge fan of SpongeBob back then. And Number Raiders, which plays very similarly to Space Invaders, Galaga. Kind of like that. And SpongeBob SquarePants Saves the Day. I think I got this for my 8th birthday. Yes, because I like SpongeBob. And anyways, that is my Leapster. And I got a lot of good use out of it for many years. It still works today, though. For Christmas 2009, I got this DSi. along with a copy of SpongeBob SquarePants Drawn to Life, or Drawn to Life SpongeBob Edition. Yeah, here is the DSi itself. Yeah, it's it's seen better days. This thing took a heck of a beating, and it still works. Yeah, I need to adjust the brightness. Here we go. Yeah, I got this for Christmas back in 2009, and I loved it. I used this thing for many years, mostly playing Flipnote Studio. Does anybody remember Flipnote Studio? More specifically, Flipnote Hatena. I never had an account on there, but I used to frequent there a lot. If anybody has any memories of that, please let me know. I'd love to read them. So, yeah. One thing that I remember was, yeah, I stole the SD card out of our Wii, and I stuck it in here, just so I can have an SD card to store photos, and yeah, it was basically my digital camera. I used this a lot from 2009, the year I got it, up until around 2012, 2013-ish. I used it for a very long time. I still love it a lot. Now, besides SpongeBob Drawn to Life, I also got 2 other games for it. The Penguins of Madagascar game. I got this on clearance from my local Toys R Us, actually. May they rest in peace. That's what the inside looks like. You know, the card, and here's the manual. It's actually a very fun puzzle game, and I forgot to show the card for SpongeBob. There it is on the inside. And the final game I got, I have a bit of a story to tell with this. This is a game based on the toy line Dagadar. Does anybody remember this toy line? There were like these round, there were these ball bearings that can go on tracks, and they had these characters printed on them, and I thought they were really cool. This is the game that's based on it. I remember I wanted to get this for Christmas back in 2011, and I never got it. Instead, I got Diary of a Zombie Kid. I'll put up a picture. It was basically a rip-off of Wimpy Kid. So, I think it was like after Christmas or sometime around January 2012. I took that book back to Walmart, and I got a gift card instead, and I used that gift card on this game. And I brought it home, and it was actually very fun. Kind of hard, though. Anyways, that is my DSi. I do plan to get more games for it. Yeah, I know there was a game based on Phineas and Ferb that I kind of wanted to get because I was a huge fan of the show at the time. Anyways, this is my DSi. And for the longest time, I kept those game cards in this case, which I took them out of this case and put them back in their original cases for this video. So, moving on. And finally, here is my Nintendo Switch. Well, this also counts as a home console, but it is a handheld. Yeah, I took the game card out of it, which I will show. And these are the games that I have. Smash Ultimate, the YouTube app, I have the NES and the Super Nintendo for Switch Online. The demo, the Wonderful 101, which I've been playing. Which I still want Bayonetta 3, but Platinum gave us that instead. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. It's actually a very fun platformer. Hulu, the demo to Disgaea 5, which I was only interested in that because there's a character in the game. Her name is Nisa. Well, she was originally from Hyperdimension Neptunia. She's the heroine of Justice, and I was quite interested in her character. Kind of a shame that she's been demoted to being just a DLC character for Disgaea and not really have anything in the story. But, oh well. Bayonetta 2, which, yes, according to some people, just like Die Hard, it's for Christmas. You know how some people say Die Hard is a Christmas movie? Well, according according to some people, Bayonetta 2 is a Christmas game. And then finally, Mario Maker 2. Well, I did order a new Switch game. My friends know what it is, but you guys don't. And I will make an unboxing video as part of 12 Random Days of Christmas and possibly some gameplay. And I'm also going to show you my only home console. Oh, before I show my only home console, this is my only physical Switch game. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Pretty sure everyone has a copy of this. Yeah, I purchased this from my local Target back in February when I got my Switch. Actually got my Switch from Best Buy, but you've probably seen the unboxing video. I did this on my tech channel if you want to check it out. So yeah, that's my only physical Switch game. Here is my only home console, the Wii. My parents and I got this from my local Walmart back in October 2007. It was the very last one in the store. And I'll show you what games I have for it. It's currently homebrewed, and it has the homebrew channel and USB Loader GX loaded. So if anything happens to the optical drive, thank goodness for USB Loader GX. Sorry if it's a little dusty. It's been a while since I last used it. I will use it again, though. Maybe during this event, who knows? Now on to the games. So here is my small Wii game collection, starting with what everyone got with their system. This is a copy of Wii Sports. This is not the original copy that came with a sleeve. Yeah, that copy got damaged, so we ended up getting this replacement copy from Nintendo, and it's just in a DVD-R case. Yeah, I remember the other games that we got for it around that time, because I remember my dad went to Best Buy after we got our Wii, and not only he picked up that 2GB SD card that's currently in my DSi, he also picked up a couple of games. Here is Wii Play. Here's a collection of mini games. It's actually very fun. Yeah, I've seen Vanna Mellon as Fluttershy play this game on New Year's. Oh, that was hilarious. And that was the bundle that came with the other Wii remotes, so that came with the Wiimote, so that's why I have two. This is Big Brain Academy Wii Degree. I remember playing this every morning during homeschooling. It was also very fun. Oh, trying not to drop these cases. Then the next games we got, well, the next game I got was SpongeBob Creature from the Krusty Krab, which, yes, again, I was a huge fan of SpongeBob during this time. Yeah, the Atlantis Scorpantis game was already out by the time I got my Wii, but I wanted to get this for some reason. And there's the game. Unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore, but I kept it because of nostalgia and also because of this Nick Games Guide. Let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, I rented the Game Boy Advance version, which I believe was developed by WayForward. Yes, the Shantae people. Yeah, before the Shantae series became really big, they did licensed games like this. I think they still sort of do to this day. I believe the most recent licensed game they came out with was The Mummy Demastered. Battle for Volcano Island, which... yeah, I have played one of the Nicktoons games, and that was Attack of the Toy Bots that I rented from Blockbuster back in 2007. And I downloaded an ISO of it and loaded it onto my homebrewed Wii. And, yeah, it was very easy, of course, because, yeah, it's meant for kids, but it was still fun nonetheless. Barnyard, this was based on the movie. Not necessarily the show that came out later on. I vaguely remember the movie, though. Danny Phantom Urban Jungle. I think I heard good things about that game. The show, of course, everyone knows about him. It still has a following to this day. A Nick show that is kind of forgotten on the other hand is Unfabulous, which surprisingly, this game was also developed by WayForward. Yep. Again. Does anybody remember Unfabulous? I vaguely remember it. And then again, at that time, I wasn't really into teen shows, teen sitcoms. Yet, I mostly just watched Nick for the Nicktoons. And then SpongeBob Yellow Avenger, which shows it's for the DS, but I think I saw a PSP copy somewhere. Copyright 2006. It's by the original THQ, not THQ Nordic. And then moving on. Yes, I got a copy of Link's Crossbow Training, which this is one of the only Legend of Zelda games I ever played. True story. And here's the disc, which looks like a target. Archery target, yeah. Which I need to put it back in, which doesn't want to go back in. It's kind of scratched, but I think it will still work. I could just find an ISO of this in case the disc stops working. Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, I just put the disc back in on, off camera. There's the instructions. Yes, it's the same. Yes, this is the same packaging that Wii Sports originally came in. Actually, yeah, I remember my mom played this game. Yes, I remember watching my mom play this, and she had a blast. So I have a Zapper though. I got that back in 2008. And then these two games I got for Christmas back in 2010. Game Party 3, which, yes, this is going into shovelware territory. Yeah, published by WB Games, which is best known for publishing the Lego games, the newer ones by Traveler's Tales. And the back. Which I remember they had these weird avatars which looked very similar to, which looked like they were trying to rip off the Xbox 360 avatars. Yeah, the old Xbox Live avatars. The disc looks like. Touchmaster 3! Don't know if that's any good. Yeah, for the DS. So there was Game Party 3, yeah, it was alright. And then this one, if you're a Neptunia fan, you'll probably recognize the developer of this game, and it's very surprising. Family Party, 30 Great Games! Yeah, this is another shovelware game. It was published by D3 Publisher, which if I remember right, they published the Ben 10 games as well as games based on Cartoon Network stuff later on. But if you look on the back, this was developed by Tamsoft. Yes, that Tamsoft, who later went on to develop the spin-offs for Hyperdimension Neptunia, like Four Goddesses Online, Sega Hard Girls, Mega Tag Mention Blonde plus Neptune vs. Zombies. Yeah. I find it interesting how they went from producing shovelware like this to spin-offs in the Neptunia series. That's quite a big leap. And then, yes, I know, this is not a copy of Die Another Day. It's actually a copy of Wii Fit. Yeah, I got this from some lady in our neighborhood, I think, back in 2010. Didn't come with a case, it just came with a manual and a disc, so I just stuck it into a blank DVD case and I kept the cover that goes, why not? It will fool people. And then the last Wii games I purchased was back in 2016. Yeah, I finally picked up a copy of the Angry Birds trilogy. I remember wanting this back in 2013 and I never got it, even though I was still in my Angry Birds craze. Here's the disc, and plays very similarly to the Roku version of Angry Birds, and yes, there was a Roku version of Angry Birds, and the front cover uses the art that was used on the current loading screen, the current splash screen for the game. And then finally, you will be surprised by this. Yes. I have a copy of the Metroid Prime trilogy. Well, this is not really this is not a complete copy. But, yeah, it plays fine, but my Wii has trouble reading the disc, and, Yeah, it didn't come with a manual, but I couldn't pass it up. It was a copy of the Metroid Prime trilogy, and I was like, what the heck? Yeah, I paid $40 for it, which is the average what this goes for online, even though it's not a complete copy, but whatever. So that is my Wii game collection. And now I'm going to move on to my personal platform of choice, the PC. Even though I personally prefer the PC, but a gamer such as myself prefers all platforms. Yeah, this is my random case of CDs, my random CD DVD case. I've had this forever. I've had this since I was 5. I used to take my DVDs out of their cases and put them in here. And I'll just skip to the games. I had some games in here. Check. Yeah. And these are all educational titles. I have SpongeBob SquarePants Typing, Math 1 and School Zone Math 1 and 2, as well as Multiplication and Division, which, yeah, School Zone Interactive was my go-to edutainment publisher. Does anybody else remember School Zone Interactive? I sure do. I had most of their games growing up, and they were one of my favorites. As for something more recent, here is the physical release of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Yeah, there's no disc. It just has a piece of paper with the key on it. It uses Origin. It's not out on Steam, but yeah, to not spoil anything, even though this game is about 4 years old, it was okay. I mean, the gameplay was good, don't get me wrong, but the story, to avoid spoilers, is mediocre at best. I highly recommend that you play the game yourself and make your own conclusions. Yeah, I did show this off last year when it was mixed in with my DVDs. So yeah, this just has the instructions. I want to give the key away, it's already been used. And here is a little flyer for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Does anybody remember when PopCap made more than just Plants vs. Zombies, or rather, before they made nothing but Plants vs. Zombies games? You know, pre-EA PopCap. They used to be such a good developer. I used to play their games a lot. At least their older games are now available on Steam and Origin, and even Flashpoint has copies of them. And now I'm going to show off some bonus things. They're not really games, but they're manuals. Starting with the oldest. This is the manual to Alpha Centauri. Okay, these belong to my dad. This is actually a really good strategy game. It's one of my favorites from my childhood. This is about 247 pages long. And that's the commands, shortcuts, released back in 1999, which you can get it from GOG for $5. I think that's the only place you can get it digitally now. And here is the manual to Civilization 3 Gold Edition. When Atari published it, the original version of Civ 3 was published by Infogrames in 2001. This is the Gold Edition from 2003 when Atari took over the publishing rights. And on the back is an ad for Civilization Conquests. It's also belonged to my dad. He actually owns this on Steam now. As well as Civ 4, which was published by 2K. This was actually the first time I had ever heard of 2K games. Was when they published Civ 4 and they bought out Firaxis. And on the back is the remake of Sid Meier's Pirates, which I've never played. I have played a little bit of Civ 4 and Civ 3. And for extra nostalgia, powered by GameSpy. Yeah. It was released at a time when Steam was in its infancy and GameSpy was the go-to service for multiplayer games on the PC. And now I'm going to move on to my computer to see what's actually installed on it. I'm going to show you my digital games next. So now I'm on my computer. I currently have Steam open so you can see my Steam library. And I'm going to show you all of them in alphabetical order, starting with Aperture Tag, which this was a Portal 2 mod. I actually found out about its existence via Harry Callahan's videos on YouTube. He actually helped work on this mod, and it was actually pretty cool. Astropop Deluxe is actually a game from my childhood that I bought off Steam back in 2015. I became nostalgic for it. It's actually very fun. Oh, Battleborn. I miss this game so much. I actually like this more than Overwatch, but I played it less than Overwatch. I actually became interested in it because I used to be a member of the Gearbox software forums. And it was made by the Borderlands people, so that's why I became interested. I actually was participant in the closed technical test back in 2015, as well as the open beta back in April. Yes, I know. Sorry, I'm answering Discord messages. There's no way to pause this. So, I was really excited for Battleborn, but Overwatch pretty much killed it. That's all I have to say. It was fun while it lasted, but Overwatch killed it. Bloons TD Battles, I don't know why I have this in my library. I never played it. Maybe I installed it and I never played it. I have heard of the Bloons TD series before. It's a series of tower defense games. I've played some other games of the genre, but not this one. Borderlands 2. I loved this game to death. A few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, I put in so many hours, as you can see, about 217 hours, because there's so much to do. Kind of fell off of it in recent years, but it's still fun to look back to. Same with the original Borderlands. This is the original version with the original graphics, as well as the enhanced version that came out in 2019. I barely played this one, I actually played more of the original. That was fun too. Same with the pre-sequel, which I still haven't beaten, which I want to get back to. I have a strange tradition, I have a weird tradition that I play this on Christmas. Yeah, it's because I got it for Christmas 5 years ago. Brink. This is a mediocre game. That's all I have to say. It was developed by Splash Damage, who later went on to develop Dirty Bomb. I could see why they put it up for free. I only played like 111 minutes of it, like just over an hour. Commander Keen, on the other hand, that is a classic. You remember when Bethesda tried to make a mobile game out of Commander Keen? And Steam responded by putting the original for sale for 90 cents. It was like, forget that. Just play the original instead. It's much better. And it is really good. Although I heard Goodbye Galaxy is actually a better game, but Destiny 2, of course you may know this was developed by Bungie. Never really played it that much, only put like 3 hours into it. Although I remember when Activision owned the rights to Destiny, and I played it when they gave it out for free back in 2018, and then I played it again back in 2020, back in May. And then I uninstalled it because it took up so much space on my SSD. And it was actually very fun and also kind of boring, but it was still fun. Dirty Bomb, on the other hand, I only put 2.4 hours into this. I don't really care for it. Kind of reminded me of like Call of Duty or Rainbow Six Siege. I remember playing this back in 2015 when Nexon published it. Yeah, it was published by another company. Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of my least played games. This was gifted to me by a friend of mine. I only put 45 minutes into the game because it just didn't really interest me at all. Because I wasn't really into RPGs yet. I actually, this is before I got into stuff like Neptunia, so, yeah. Doom 2, this is a classic. It needs no introduction. I used to play this. I actually remember playing it through Doom Legacy. Now, of course, it, like I said, doesn't need an introduction. Doom Eternal. This was one of the 2 games that came out on March 20th, the same day Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, which a lot of people enjoyed. I wanted to get Doom Eternal because I was more excited about that. I only put 8 hours into the game because it was hard at first, and I decided to set it to the easiest difficulty because of the massive difficulty spikes and the scarcity of ammo. That's the only reasons why I never really put much into the game, because of those. If it didn't have those, I would have had more fun. And since I mentioned Way Forward earlier, here is DuckTales Remastered, which this is actually a really good game. It's basically a remastered version of the NES game based on the original. Which, speaking of DuckTales, you probably heard the reboot got canceled recently, which I'm so sad about because I loved that series and I wish it got a video game. That would have been awesome. I still haven't beaten it though because I think I'm on the Himalaya level, the level in the Himalayas, and I never beat it. I'll probably get back to it though. Epic Snails, in case you don't know, this was developed by Rocket Snail, the same guy who made Club Penguin, in case you didn't know. I think he also worked on Box Critters. Yeah, I only played 6 minutes of it. I was like, whatever. Garry's Mod, this is another game that doesn't need an introduction. Everybody knows about this. I use it to make pictures, which you can see right there. Yeah, it's just something random. Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams. I first heard about this via LGR months ago. Well, not months ago, sorry. Years ago when he watched his Let's Play of it. It was actually very fun. I got it during a Steam sale, and it's actually, and I actually played with a controller. I played it with a controller, and it was actually very nice. And so yeah. And here's another classic that doesn't need an introduction. I'm going to keep repeating this. The original Half-Life. Everybody knows about it. It's a classic. Half-Life 2 as well. I actually put more hours into it. I actually like Half-Life 2 more than Half-Life 1. Just saying. Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Never really played that. And episodes 1 and 2. I like those as well. Lost Coast is actually a tech demo. Half-Life 2 update, which is actually a fan-made updated version of Half-Life 2. That was actually really good. Half-Life Deathmatch Source, barely played that, or never really played it. Opposing Force, that was actually a really good expansion pack. I had Blue Shift, but not sure where that went. Master Chief Collection, of course. I still haven't played Halo 4 and Halo 3 on it yet, as well as ODST. Still in the middle of Halo 2. I kind of fell off of it because I was busy playing other series. Halo Wars Definitive Edition. I want to get back into this sometime. Haven't played it in 2 years, so I want to get back into it. I liked what I played of it. Tried playing the PC version of Halo Wars 2, and it was very, very glitchy. Yeah, it kept crashing. And here's a game that I've been putting a lot of time to recently. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1. I would like to thank my boyfriend for getting me into this series, and I've been talking about it lately. Yeah, kind of a shame that Nisa is not in the series, but yeah, this is actually a really good remake. And yeah, I heard about Reverse, which is just a definitive version of Rebirth 1. And I wish that Idea Factory and Compile Hard could make a new main title. But that's just my opinion. I have so many ideas that I would share, but I'm here to talk about my games and not ramble on about a series that become popular and not ramble on about a series I've become obsessed with as of late. That would be for another day. So another game I like, Kerbal Space Program. I love sandbox games and I love everything that has to do with space, so why not? I love making my own ridiculously overpowered rockets and blowing them up. My mom would call the Kerbals the Akbar twins because they looked like Admiral Akbar's offspring. Just a side note there. The original Left 4 Dead, which I only put like 13 hours into it, that was fun, but I prefer its sequel because of the amount of mods you can add to it. You have so many mods for so many franchises I'm a fan of. Weapons, characters, music, a lot of stuff. Might play it during this event, who knows. Lego Movie the video game, which I still I sort of technically saw the movie with this game, but it used scenes from the movie as cutscenes. And actually beat this game, and it was actually very fun. The closest I ever got to LU, but not really. Lego Worlds, especially. Actually, no, Lego Worlds was more. Yeah, that was fun too. I actually like this more than Minecraft, by the way. Master Levels of Doom 2 is just some extra levels for Doom 2, of course. MechWarrior Online, I never really played this. My dad did as well. It was based on the MechWarrior series. Melody's Escape is actually one of my favorite rhythm games, along with Hatsune Miku Project Diva, which I've only played Megamix on the Switch, but I love these types of these types of rhythm games where you can actually play with your own music. I thought it was kind of fun. Mirror's Edge. I freaking love this game. It's one of my favorites. I love the original over Catalyst for many reasons, story being one of them. Despite it being technically 12 years old, it still looks nice to this day. Yeah, that's something I added to the library. Nights in the Dreams, which I got for free from Sega's website for their 60th anniversary. Haven't installed it yet. Paladins. I actually played this before I got Overwatch. Haven't played it in a while, though. Yeah, I played the Switch version and it just felt kind of weird playing a first-person shooter with a controller. It just doesn't feel right to me. I prefer to play with a keyboard and mouse, but that's just personal preference. Yeah, I was a beta tester for Paladins. Portal. This also doesn't need an introduction. This was actually the very first game I got on Steam. It was the reason why I wanted the Steam account, believe it or not. Portal 2, this remains my favorite game of all time. It is that good. I love the story, the characters, the environments, the levels, the music, everything. It's my favorite game of all time. And if you haven't played it yet, you need to play it. It's that good. Portal Stories Mel is actually a really good mod. This was another mod made by Harry Callahan, aka Harry101 UK, which you may remember. You might remember him for making those Portal 2 music videos that were parodies of songs. Some of them were parodies of songs from Nightmare Before Christmas and some others. They were actually pretty good. And that's what got me into Portal in the first place. Project 1v1, which... This was a game that was developed by Gearbox Software. It was a multiplayer game they were developing, and I barely remember anything of it. It's still in my library, and it hadn't expired, so I have no idea why. Only put 60 minutes into it. It was actually very fun for the short time. Kind of hard, though, but... Quake Champions, I barely played this. I only downloaded it because Quake. It was alright. Quake 2, on the other hand... This is another classic. This is actually very fun. Yep. Quantum Conundrum, which, if I remember right, was made by the same people that made Portal. Yeah, it was another game that I liked. Kind of a shame that the developer behind it went under. Another classic FPS, Red Faction. It's actually hard to play in its stock form on Steam, so it's actually better if you use the Pure Faction mod. Roach Fusion. I actually first heard about this, I think it was via the review spot in one of the arcade blocks where he got a code for it and I became interested. It's a shoot 'em up. The Sanctum 2, which it was actually a combination first-person shooter and tower defense. This is another game I liked. I remember playing it with my friends. Kind of want to introduce my boyfriend to it. Some of the games in my dad's library, like I said. Slave Zero, which I first heard about via LGR. I kind of want to replay that someday, whenever I feel like it. Smite, which is a MOBA I barely played. Because for a short time in the mid-2010s, I was kind of into MOBAs. For some reason. You know, playing stuff like Dota 2 and Heroes of the Storm. And oddly enough, I never touched League. Probably because of how toxic it is. Splitgate. I'm not sure where I first heard about this. May have been YouTube. Who knows. It basically combines Portal with Halo. It was a rather interesting concept. Only put like 26 minutes into it. Story about my uncle. Oh, here's a review from one of my brothers. Short game filled with interesting mechanics and a compelling story. That's one way to put it. It was another game developed by Coffee Stain Studios, the same people that made Sanctum as well as Goat Simulator. Super Sanctum TD, this was a tower defense game based on Sanctum. That was also fun. Here's another classic that doesn't need an introduction. I keep saying that a lot, Cat. System Shock 2. Everybody knows about this. Same with the original System Shock, which I remember playing this back when it was still Abandonware. This was before Night Dive Studios got the remake. Not remake. This was before Night Dive Studios bought the rights to it. So yeah, I pirated it. But at least I actually bought this legally, so. Tales from the Borderlands was actually the only perfect game I have where I got all the achievements. And this is also the only Telltale game I ever played. Another game by Telltale that I was kind of interested in was the one based on Guardians of the Galaxy. Never played it. Actually don't own it, so. Tekken 7, I actually got this during the end of the summer sale on Steam. It was actually a very fun fighting game. My boyfriend actually introduced this to me because he had one of the Tekken games and he told me about a character that kind of looked like Tracer, so I kind of got interested. I was playing through the story mode. Thinking with Time Machine, this was a Portal 2 mod I first heard about back in 2014. And it was rather interesting how you have this tablet that's a time machine, time travel device. And it was actually very interesting. The Tomb Raider reboot, I still haven't played this yet. The only Tomb Raider game I ever played was the PSP version of Anniversary via an emulator. It was via PPSSPP. Yeah, Steam gave this out for free, or rather Square Enix gave it out for free on Steam back in March, and I still haven't installed it, so I can't really say anything about it because I don't have it installed. Toxic, I remember my dad telling me about this game because one of his coworkers was into it. I kind of want to get back into it someday. It's been a while. Unreal Gold, I have no idea why my computer just blacked out like that. Please stop. Yeah, Epic actually gave this out for free a couple of years ago to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the Unreal... Not 2-year anniversary. 20th anniversary of the Unreal Engine. I'm getting tired. I'm so sorry. The 20th anniversary of the Unreal Engine. Warframe, which I remember a couple of friends of mine did play. And according to some people, this is what Destiny should have been. This was developed by Digital Extremes. Which I remember they also assisted Epic in various games, one of them being the aforementioned Unreal. And finally in my Steam library is Worms Armageddon, my favorite Worms game of all time. I've also played the original DOS version via DOSBox, and that was also very fun, but I prefer Armageddon, and you can easily mod this. Yeah, my throat's getting dry, and I definitely don't have any water, so just bear with me. So anyways, that is my digital game collection. Not shown is my copy of Overwatch on Battle.net because I don't have that installed. I also don't have the Epic Game Store installed, which I have Fortnite. Yes, I know. Actually, I actually got Fortnite before it became Battle Royale. As well as my free copy of Borderlands 3, which I haven't touched in months. Almost a year by this point. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this very long video of me talking about my game collection, and more videos like this will be coming soon, so stay tuned and keep calm and daydream on.